Thank you all so much for being here. Right before we start, just want to say a couple of words of clarification. I want you to take a look around. Most of us are here in deep solidarity and knowledge of the humanity of all people. Right here, we are here because we believe that every single life is sacred. So if you see someone holding up hate symbols, if you see someone trying to detract or divide this beautiful movement for peace, they are not with us. And we want to make that very, very clear. We want to make it clear that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism.
Jews for Palestine.
Thank you. And we're going to get started now. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Got him warmed up for you, man. Yeah.
Free Palestine! 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 What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it, 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 shut it down. Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phara Ismail. And it's really, really great to be with all of you here this afternoon in New York City. I'm going to ask folks to keep coming in because we have hundreds of people here, and I believe there are going to be hundreds and hundreds more. So get closer. We want to hear each other, and we want as many people as can get here to hear what we're saying. One quick note before we get going. If you see a reporter or someone from the press, you can flag down Catherine D. or Emily L. Can you raise your hands, please, Catherine or Emily? Anyone see them? Over there. Okay, there's someone over there. Direct them to press. Catherine and Emily, they're over there. Okay? All right. Like I said, my name is Phara Ismail. I am coming to you today as a New Yorker who lives in Jackson Heights, Queens. And I'm coming to you as a Palestinian New Yorker. Like many of you today, I am full of sadness. Sadness at this moment where thousands and thousands have lost their lives in a ruthless campaign of aggression. Like many of you, I am full of rage at this moment. At the U.S. government and the corporate world around us pledges its support for an unfolding genocide. And like many of you, I am here to say no more. No more. No more. No more. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. When the bombs began to fall on Gaza, I found myself looking up at the Empire State Building. How many lives would it take for the Empire State Building to light up in Palestinian colors? How clear of a declaration of genocidal intent? Level Gaza, raze it to the ground, kill all of them, human animals, nothing. Churches bombed, nothing. 1,000 children dead, nothing. 4,000 600,000 people dead, nothing. 600,000 new refugees, nothing. And then I realized I was looking in the wrong direction. Because when I look down at these streets, what I see is the streets are awash with the Palestinian colors. In Manhattan, in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Washington, D.C., from Chicago to Toledo to San Francisco, where thousands of high schoolers walked out of their schools yesterday chanting, "Ceasefire now!" In Ottawa and Toronto and Bogota and London and Paris and Istanbul and Sana'a and Rabat and Tunis and Beirut and Baghdad, people of conscience the world over are lighting up the world with a clear message. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
And now,
Ceasefire now!
here again in New York,
Ceasefire!
if this is your first time at a protest like this one, welcome. You have come at the right time. We need you. Stay in the streets. Bring your friends until we ensure that the last bomb has fallen. And now it's a pleasure to introduce to you, from Jewish Voice for Peace, Morgan Basakis. Ceasefire now!
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 Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Morgan Basakis, and I am honored to join you as a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, New York City. I am honored to join you today as a proud Jewish anti-Zionist who joins with you in the Palestinian struggle for freedom. I am with you today as an American Jew with my whole heart broken at the genocide that is being carried out by the Israeli government in the name of Jewish safety with the full support of the United States government. We say no! We say no! We say not in our names! Not in our names! We say never again means and never again for anyone!
Never again means never again for anyone!
We say never again means never again for anyone!
Never again means never again for anyone!
We say never again means now!
Never again means now!
Never again means now!
Never again means now!
I am just coming back from D.C. where we had the largest mobilization of Jews. The largest mobilization of Jews in American history in solidarity with Palestinian freedom. The largest Jewish civil disobedience in history. We are very clear the Jewish community is not united around Israeli apartheid and colonialism and occupation. We are united around justice. We will not let Jewish pain and Jewish fear and Jewish grief be weaponized to justify the collective punishment of Palestinians, to weaponize to justify the genocide of Palestinian people in Gaza. We say no! We say no! We say no! We were there in D.C. yesterday and we made sure that every single person in Congress heard our message. You cannot say you're in solidarity with Jews and support this genocide in Gaza. We say no! We say no! We say not in our names! We say not in our names! We said never again means never again for anyone! Never again! We say never again means never again for anyone! We say never again is now! We say
never again is now. I am proud to come from a long lineage of Jews who oppose genocide of all kinds. And we as survivors of genocide of our own call on our ancestors to fortify us and strengthen us and clarify us that there is no contradiction between any of our feelings and any of our grief and our opposition to genocide now. It is our moral responsibility to oppose the genocide that's taking place in Gaza. We say no! We say no! We say not in our names! We say never again is now! We say ceasefire now! We say ceasefire now! We will not stop until every single one of our representatives hears from us. We will not stop. We will escalate our pressure. You cannot carry out a genocide in the name of Jewish safety with the full support of the United States government. We say never again is now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Honor to stand with you all. Thank you so much.
Never again is when? Never again is when? Never again is now. Never again is when? Never again is when? Never again is when? Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
I now am happy to introduce to you my sister from Adala Justice Project, Sumaya Awad.
Can you hear me? We're out here and we're soaked. Many of us are soaked in rain. But our governor and our mayor, they're soaked in the blood of genocide and war crimes. Israel has been clear of its intentions from the very beginning. They have said it time and again, they want to flatten Gaza, no matter how long it takes, and still, our government is standing behind them, is standing with this genocide. Israel is bombing schools and hospitals, roads and places of worship. A genocide is unfolding, and our government is funding it. We're in the streets today and every day until this stops, making our voices heard. Because right now, silence is complicity.
That's right.
We are here because Israel has cut off food and water and electricity to 2.2 million people. 50% of them children. These are war crimes and crimes against humanity, plain and simple, and still, Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams are openly supporting them. Israel's defense minister referred to Palestinians as human animals, but he is the one dropping 6,000 plus bombs on them. Netanyahu called us barbarians, but he is bombing hospitals and schools. They call us cowards, but they have killed 4,000 Palestinians and over 1,500 Palestinian children. They're wiping out entire bloodlines. Israel referred to Palestinians as the children of darkness, and an hour later they bombed a hospital. In an instant, in a few seconds, over 1,000 Palestinians were murdered. Hundreds of Palestinian children were killed in an instant, and hundreds more were made orphans. There's a Palestinian surgeon named Ghassan Abu Sitta, and you should look him up and you should follow everything he does, because he is in Gaza right now. He is in every hospital. He's operating. He's refusing to leave. And he said this after the hospital bombing on Tuesday: "There is no lonelier place in this universe than around the bed of a wounded child who has no more family to look after them. And still, Palestinians are the ones who are being smeared and dehumanized. We are not allowed to grieve the thousands of people that we have lost. We are not given the right to grieve. Instead, we are smeared and dehumanized. And those words are not just words, they have real consequences. And we saw that when a little Palestinian boy, a 6-year-old in Chicago, was brutally murdered by his landlord because of these smears. His blood is on the hands of so many in the press, so many in our government, and our very own governor and mayor. That little boy's blood is on their hands. As a Palestinian, and as a New Yorker, and as a proud socialist, I will not sit idly by while Israel, with U.S. backing, commits war crimes against my people, commits war crimes against millions. Palestinians in Gaza will not leave their homes and land. Do not tell them to evacuate and leave so Israel can bomb their homes, so Israel can invade their land and indiscriminately kill them. Palestinians refuse a second and third exile. We refuse. We are in a moment where silence is complicity, and let me tell you, your silence, it will haunt you. Your silence right now will haunt you. We are clear in our demand. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. And we will stay out here in the streets every day until we reach this demand. This is not the first protest. If this is your first protest, get ready for your second and your third and your fourth. If this is your 10th protest, get ready for 11, 12, and 13. You are not alone. We are all in this together. We refuse for this to happen with our tax dollars. We refuse for this to happen in our name, and we will not stop until a ceasefire is reached. That's right.
I'm happy now to present to you New York State Assemblymember Phara Souffrant Forrest.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Assemblymember Phara Souffrant Forrest, representing Assembly District 57 in Brooklyn. Today, I stand before you not just as an elected official, not just as a democratic socialist, not just as someone who is burning to defend innocent lives, but also as a descendant of Haitians still struggling with its colonial past. And it is with that history that fills me with a deep sadness, but also a deep sense of responsibility and fervent desire for peace. The conflict in Israel and Gaza has ravaged countless lives, causing immense suffering and perpetuating cycle of violence. It is time for us to come together as a global community and demand an immediate ceasefire. In Palestine, as in Haiti, the principles of self-determination and sovereignty must apply universally. Regardless of geographic location or geopolitical interests. It is our duty to stand up against any forms of oppression. Sorry. and advocate for the rights and well-being of all people. In the midst of this devastating conflict, we must remember that every life lost is a tragedy, regardless of nationality or religion. The ongoing violence has claimed and continues to claim the lives of innocents, lives of Israelis and Palestinians, leaving families torn apart and communities ravaged. We cannot allow this bloodshed to continue unchecked. A ceasefire is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our strength as leaders and as peacemakers. By calling for a ceasefire, calling to bring the hostages home, calling for aid to be let into Gaza, we demonstrate our commitment to preserving life, promoting justice, and working towards a lasting solution. Listen, y'all, the interconnectedness of the struggles of Palestine and Haiti reminds us that peace and justice are not isolated issues. They are intertwined, reflecting the shared aspirations of people around the world for a better future. We must confront the underlying and present capitalistic and colonialist issues that fuel this conflict and address the grievances of both Palestinians and Israelis. It is only through the recognition of each other's rights, aspirations, and humanity that we can forge a future of coexistence and prosperity. I call upon the international community, governments, and citizens alike to stand united in our demand for an immediate ceasefire in Palestine. Let us raise our voices, not in anger or blame, but in solidarity and hope. Together we can pave the way for a brighter future where peace, justice, and dignity for all prevails. Thank you. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire.
I want to make clear to everyone what we're looking at. So I want us to say together, Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
Israel, Israel, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
And that's why we say, ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire.
All right, y'all.
Ceasefire now.
The umbrellas are coming out, and the crowd is only growing. So I want to give yourselves a round of applause real quick. As we welcome up to the mic, Councilmember Tiffany Cabán.
What do we want?
Ceasefire.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Ceasefire.
When do we want it?
Now.
My name is Tiffany Cabán. I'm the council member in the 22nd District in Western Queens, and I am proud to be here with y'all. And before I was a council member, I spent a decade as a public defender. So what is happening right now in Gaza is not my area of expertise. But I'm reminded by something that Angela Davis has said. People will tell you that you do not know enough, but you do not have to be an expert to be in solidarity with a liberation struggle. And here's what I do know from my life and career. The safety we need and deserve doesn't come from systems of punishment and control. They come from systems of care and support. And that's not just true in New York City, where that means shifting away from Rikers and the NYPD and shifting towards social housing and a care economy.
That's everywhere on this earth. And I believe that in the Holy Land, it means shifting from apartheid and occupation and towards democracy and equal rights and economic security for everyone. And it starts right now with a ceasefire. It starts right now allowing aid, humanitarian aid into Gaza. It starts right now with Washington, D.C. refusing and cutting off weapons of war and funding into the region. It starts now. That's how we save 2 million Palestinian lives, half of them under the age of 18. That's how we save Israeli hostages. That is how we save the region from war. And that is how we move towards a path of creating and charting a course toward freedom and equal rights for all Palestinians and all Israeli folks. So I am here with you in solidarity to say never again, to say no more, and to say end it now. Ceasefire now. What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we not want it? Now! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! Thank you.
What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Our next speaker is Councilmember Alexa Avilés. Please give her a round of applause.
Hello, mi gente. Let's hear you. My name is Alexa Avilés, and I am the council member for District 38, representing Sunset Park in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Like many of you, I believe that life is precious. And as I've spoken with both Muslim and Palestinian and Jewish constituents across my district, what's emerged as a unifier is our shared fears, desperation, and hopes for lasting peace. All peoples deserve sovereignty and dignity. I unequivocally condemn the killing of any Israeli and Palestinian civilians, of any civilian. During a time of such destruction and chaos, I am so profoundly disturbed to hear such a full-throated endorsement from so many for actions that amount to ethnic cleansing. In the name of self-defense, these past 13 days, the Israeli government has killed more than 3,500 Palestinians. Yay! That includes more than 1,500 children. Yay! That includes over 1,000 women. Yay! The government has cut off food, water, electricity to more than 2 million Palestinian civilians. And they have forced 1.1 million Palestinians from their homes with less than 24 hours to evacuation and told them to go to places they then bombed. This is not war. This is genocide. This is revenge. This is retribution against people. Do not turn your eyes away. To displace an entire people, many whom weren't even alive when Hamas took power in 2006 and turned their homes into ash for the crime of being born in a certain place is ethnic cleansing. How does continuing a cycle of indiscriminate violence, dehumanization, and forced migration credibly contribute to national security or peace. We cannot talk about all this violence without talking about the vested interests of the United States weapons industry and ruling class has in ginning up this discord and in bankrolling bloodshed, in pitting religions against one another. I stand here in solidarity with my Jewish and Muslim neighbors, many of whom are still grieving the loss of relatives and colleagues, of friends and loved ones. This violence must stop. I cannot stress enough that I also share in your hopes, in a hope for lasting peace. I stand here with you staunchly in favor of life, because it is not politically expedient thing to do. It is the right, moral thing to do. So, in closing, I condemn, let me say it again, I condemn the use of my taxpayer dollars to fund human rights violations. We demand exigimos, an immediate ceasefire, and return the hostages. Because now peace is in action. We must fund peace. We must be peace. We must act in peace. We must speak peace. We have to stop the killing. No more. Not on our dime. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Councilmember Avilés reminded us about our complicity as taxpayers here in all of the things that are going on that we're seeing. So to that we say, not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes.
Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes!
Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes.
Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes!
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Our next speaker, from CWA and U.S. Labor Against War and Racism, Nastra Mohit.
Brothers and sisters! Can I get a free Palestine?
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Set free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Thank you. Here we are, brothers and sisters, New Yorkers of conscience. We're here in the pouring rain, in the face of these atrocities. We are standing here, thousands of us, to say not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes.
Not another nickel! Not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes!
Thank you.
No more money for Israel's crimes!
Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes. Brothers and sisters, I want to introduce myself. My name is Nasra Mohit. I've been organizing workers in this city for 20 years. I've been fighting against wars with many of you in this city for 20 years. 20 years ago, we were 2 blocks away fighting against the Iraq War. And here we are in that grand tradition, fighting against the militarism that is massacring people thousands of miles away with our tax dollars. I am also here as a union organizer
who is building, helping with so many brothers and sisters and union siblings. Where are all my union people at? The labor movement is on fire right now. But what does that labor movement mean if we're not standing with working people across the world? We are answering the call of the Palestinian trade movement, who has put out an urgent appeal to us to stop arming Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. It is our obligation as U.S. taxpayers and peoples of conscience to stop arming Israel. It's more than a ceasefire. The ceasefire end is just the bare minimum. We need to end the siege of Gaza. We need to end the occupation. We need to stand up for Palestinians, for all of the parents out there. Teach your children. I'm here with my 8-month-old baby, and I swear I would bring my other child here too, but she hates the rain. We have to teach our children that this is the David and Goliath fight of our lifetime. I was lucky enough as a child to go to marches over by the UN as a child to free Palestine. It was not very popular then, and it'll never be popular. But as people of conscience, that does not matter. We have to stand on the side of justice. We have to stand on the side of working people. Last night, 400 trade unionists came together for a call to decide how we're going to move forward as a labor movement on Palestine. The stories that we're hearing is heartbreaking. We are moving so far to the right. We're seeing academic workers on campuses being doxxed. Many of you are here. We're seeing nurses who can't even talk about Palestine in their nurses station because their nurse manager is saying, I stand with Israel, and they're being penalized. We're seeing people being fired. We're seeing people have job offers rescinded. We are seeing people blacklisted for standing for the Palestinian people and the massacre that is unfolding before our eyes. So we have an obligation as a labor movement to fight for workers, so that saying free Palestine is not a scarlet letter, but it means you stand on the side of justice. Every single one of us should be proud, and we approach these conversations with regular people out there in the same way that our Jewish brothers and sisters have spoken to people in their community, and they have built an amazing movement. A movement that just shut down the Capitol, 11 entrances to the White House. That wasn't possible years ago. That wasn't possible years ago, but when we come together, labor movement, faith, community organizations, who cares about the Zionists out there who claim we're anti-Semites? None of us are anti-Semites. We believe we are standing, Jewish, Muslim, every faith together. This is for justice. And if we come together and we double the size of this march, triple the size of this march, quadruple the size of this march, Chuck Schumer better listen, and the entire political establishment, including Biden, better listen. Not in our name.
And we say ceasefire now because that's the first step toward ending the occupation, ending apartheid, and a free Palestine. So I say, end the occupation now!
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 Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
And I want to make one thing really clear about what Nastaran said, and make it really clear who we are today. There's some guy across the street with some bullshit anti-Semitic sign, and I want to make it clear that we have a message for him. Take it down! Take it down! Take it down! Take it down! Take it down!
Take it down! Take it down! Take it down! Take it down!
Okay! How you guys doing out there? I really can't, it's kind of rainy, I can't hear you. How you doing out there? Okay, our next speaker from the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America and organizer, Reverend Khader Khaliliye.
Thank you. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! You want to move that my head? Yes. Thank you for coming in solidarity with the Palestinian people. My name is Khadr Khalilieh, and I'm a pastor at the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. I'm also Palestinian, American, Christian, Lutheran, pastor. It's not confusing. Palestinian and Christian existed alongside their sisters and brothers from the Muslim community and the Jewish community even before the inception of the State of Israel. We coexisted peacefully. So here is my message to all of you. We are here today to express our solidarity and mourn the loss of lives. It's time for our government and President Biden to call for an immediate ceasefire now. The Israeli assault on Gaza violates international law. It violates morality, and it deeply challenges our common humanity. These attacks on civilians, destroying schools, hospitals, houses of worship, homes, and the most essential parts of people's life and community. It has to stop. We need to I lost my stuff. So
Speak from your heart, brother!
here is it. We need to condemn the attack on civilian people in Gaza. We need to ask this administration, the Biden administration, and member of Congress to call for an immediate ceasefire to allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. We will no longer be silent. More than 1 million people are displaced, and they are becoming again refugees. They are already refugees, but now they are being forced to move to unknown places. We must put an end to this war. We must call this administration to stop sending military aid to Israel to kill civilian and Palestinian people. And it's time for this administration and people of conscience to work for an everlasting peace between Israelis and Palestinians. What we want, ceasefire now, and free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Israel, you can hide! We charge you with genocide! Netanyahu, you can hide! We charge you with genocide! Joe Biden, you can hide! We charge you with genocide! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! All right, our last speaker before we march. I said our last speaker before we march. Come on, y'all. A Brooklyn-based Rabbi Miriam Grossman.
My name is Rabbi Miriam Grossman, and I want to say my heart is with every single person here who is in mourning. If you are in mourning for a Palestinian person, if you are in mourning for an Israeli person, I want to say that all of this fear and all of this grief is the reason we have come here today to demand one thing: ceasefire! Yes, to every Palestinian person here today, I want to say we see you, and we will never stop fighting by your side for an end to occupation, an end to the siege, an end to apartheid, and we will not look away from the horrifying unfolding genocide liberation is possible, because our shared liberation is possible. I want to say that as a rabbi, a huge part of my life is being with people in the final moments of their lives. And a huge part of my life is being with families in the final moments and the first moments after death. Grief is sacred. It takes space and time. Life is also sacred. Today we have to grieve and fight for life all at once. We fight for life and we sanctify life. To every family in mourning, may God comfort you. To every family living in fear, especially every Palestinian child and adult and family living in fear when there is no place safe in Gaza to hide, may God protect you, may God shelter you and those you love, and may we mourn and may we fight like hell for the living. Amen. We are going to take our demand of ceasefire into the streets, and we are going to start our march. We are going to follow the folks with yellow armbands, and we are going to move this into the streets as we demand ceasefire now!
Ceasefire